All right, hi everyone. Looks like we're live, and this is another live session for anyone who wants to join and for anyone who is also working on improving their English skills and who is striving for mastery in learning a foreign language. And I already did a live session like this a month ago, so you can go check it out. And I thought, because I got such good feedback, I thought I should do it again. So I'm going to jump right into it. And if you're watching it right now, or if you're watching a recording of this later, you don't need to be here live. Although, of course, if you are, that's great. And if you want to comment, you can. Nobody can see you. You can be anonymous if you want. But I advise you to use pen and paper right now and to use your desktop if you can instead of a mobile phone. Because if you're using your desktop right now, you can follow all the links that I'll be sharing with you, and you can try the things I'm sharing for yourselves right now at this moment. I will be sharing resources that I have for you today, and I'm going to share my screen in a few minutes so that you can follow the exact instructions and try things for yourself. Okay, why am I doing this in the first place? I'm doing this because, well, reason number one, I keep reminding you guys that I am a non-native speaker myself, right? And I deliver a lot of presentations in the English language. I sell a lot in English, and I work with a number of international teams. And I know that people who work with me and people who choose to work with me, people who join my courses, people who attend my public speaking events and public speaking training, they do exactly the same thing. They just want to learn to do it better. They sell in English, they sell on the phone, they present in English, they need to sell their startups, they need to convince people around them, they need to win European markets, they need to win international clients. And when they communicate in English, a lot is at stake. So they strive to achieve quality communication in a foreign language because their reputation, their business, and their career pretty much depends on it. And a lot of people who follow my work are also in between changing jobs, and they're looking for better jobs. They're looking for better career and life opportunities where the ability to communicate in a foreign language and the ability to do business in a foreign language, which in our case is English, is a priority, is a top priority in the company they wish to join. Therefore, we can be speaking all day long about public speaking and presentation tips and something sophisticated and complex, but it all comes down to your ability to express yourself in a foreign language in such a way so that you don't think too much and you don't translate. Look, I've been teaching public speaking for non-native speakers since 2016, and a bunch of people have already taken my course. All of these people speak very good English because the course runs in English. It's run by me and another native speaker, and you need to understand the instructions in English in order to follow the course and in order to complete all the tasks. And these people who join, A, they speak very good English, B, they already present a lot in business. C, they're quite confident and they have enough experience presenting in their first language, which is often Russian. However, a lot of native speakers also take my course, who work internationally. But non-native speakers who take the course, they stumble upon the same thing all the time, which is the ability to express themselves as fluently, as freely as they would like to. And it doesn't happen yet. So every time we're stumbling upon these strategies that don't work anymore, yet they continue using them. And I'm talking about the strategies to learn a language. Because if you're a non-native speaker, like myself, right, you're never arrive at this point where you tell yourself, okay, now I've learned English, now I've learned German, now I've learned this language and I don't need to do anything else. You're never there. I continuously learn from native speakers, and I keep learning, and every day I discover something that I don't know yet. But I do this not a chaotic, not in a random way. I have a system that I regularly update because a new ideas arrive and I see new things and I experience new things, but there must be a system that you follow. Unfortunately, a lot of people follow the system that they were taught in school, and they never questioned what they were taught and why they were taught this way. And that's a problem. A lot of people in this particular country, if we speak Russia, speak very poor English. That's the standard, that Russians generally don't have a good command of the English language, unfortunately. I live in Moscow. Moscow and St. Petersburg is a different story. A lot more people speak better English here. However, there's still a lot of people, probably way more than there should be, a lot more people who have been learning English all their lives since school, then they learned English at the university, then they started taking English classes at work, in the office, and then they continued taking courses, individual classes, online programs, whatever. It's a continuous process that never ends, and people still don't speak. Something is intrinsically wrong with this system, because if it were working and if all the innovative strategies and methodologies worked as they claim, people would have already been fluent, but they're not. And I think, and look, I didn't follow that system. I didn't learn that way actually when I learned the language. And I think it can be all way more simple. I think the educational system overcomplicates too many things. This is why when I look at how people work, how hard they work on their English skills and what methods they try, I often want to tell them, look, it doesn't have to be so hard, and you don't need to learn all the English tenses in order to speak correctly. I mean, you do, but it doesn't work this way, that you learn grammar first and then you automatically can speak correctly. No. So I'm sharing the strategies that work for me, and I'm sharing the strategies that I'm sharing with other people who use them. A lot of English teachers also take my courses, and they spread this knowledge further, and they teach their students to follow the strategies. And if you're a parent, if you have children, probably you're going to take something today that you can teach your kids, because kids also don't need to be educated in such a way that they feel frustrated with grammar, inundated with a lot of knowledge they cannot implement, and bored. They don't need to be bored. So I'm going to share the strategies that help me become more fluent every day. And before you go and talk about succeeding in public speaking or making great presentations in a second language or technical poses that make you look confident, I think you want to understand how you continuously improve every day, regularly, systematically, what system you can use to improve your language skills, because actually it boils down to your language skills. If you keep translating in your mind, if you cannot find the right words at the right moment, if you cannot express what you want to express the way you need to express it, then all the technical aspects of your presentations won't really matter. Of course, you can learn your text by heart, but that's not what you want, right? Nobody wants to listen to someone who has learned a presentation word by word, and nobody likes to listen to someone who is reading their presentation word by word. I want you to have that feeling of freedom, and it's absolutely possible. And I myself learned it only after I started learning German, so a second foreign language. And when I started learning a second foreign language, and when I actually was able to speak it freely and to communicate, I understood how I actually should learn any language, how the way that works for me. And maybe it's going to work for you. So it doesn't matter if you think all the strategies will not work for you. Take the ones that you can. Take the ones that will work for you and try them. Before making a decision, before judging them, try them out. They're all very simple. Most of them, well, I say all of them, I'm going to share today, are free. It just requires a lot of attention, discipline, and focus. A lot of people who learn a language today, who learn a second language today, they want it to be fun. They want it to be, well, more than fun. They want it to be addictive almost. Like they want something that will keep them staring at a screen, or that will keep them entertained, or that will keep them engaged. But in fact, honestly, I don't want to depend so much on any external sources. And I think the problem is also that the current educational system, what it does is that it develops this belief in people that somebody can solve their problems for them, that the teacher will come and say the correct answer, that other people, like a coach, can answer their questions, or a book can give all the answers, or a special unique methodology can help them learn a language, something. And people learn to continuously believe in something or in somebody instead of learning to believe in themselves. I think that's a fundamental problem of today's educational system, and all the courses and all the quick fixes and all the online programs that are out there that promise quick results because they have something a person doesn't. I believe every human being already has everything they need in order to master any skill. It just comes to, do you need it or not? And can you focus enough to achieve the first results? A lot of people quit before they achieve the first result simply because they keep doing the wrong thing over and over again. And this is exactly what we will talk about today. All the strategies you need to unlearn. You need to stop doing things that you've been doing since school, and because they never worked anyway, right? Like learning 100 new words a day. Who needs that, right? Or people quit after they have achieved the first result and they feel very cool about themselves and they stop. And they think, okay, now I can do it. Now I've mastered it. But in fact, what happened is that you realized how you can do it. Now it's your job to do it, to learn to do it any moment, anytime, automatically. Now your job is to make it a skill. And a lot of people stop here. And because in school, this is how we've been educated. You submit an assignment, a teacher returns it back with a grade, maybe a few comments, and that's it. You never, ever come back to the same assignment. And you never edit it. You never discuss it. You simply move on to the next topic and you move on to the next assignment. Let's say if it's a writing assignment, I believe it would have been more productive if students had to submit an assignment and receive feedback from the teacher or an instructor who would say, well, that was great, but how about we make it short enough? How about you learn to summarize your thoughts better? How about, so you wrote 2 pages, how about you summarize it and you make it 1 page? A student would have to come back to this task, and the student would have to ask themselves, okay, how can I make my message more concise? How can I express a lot of meaning in fewer words? That would have been a very interesting exercise, and that would have been a very interesting interaction between a teacher and a student. And then again, a student would have to submit a task and then receive comments back from the teacher. And it would have been even nicer if a teacher would say, well, how about you summarize your idea in 1 paragraph now? How about you do it in 1 sentence? This is what develops critical thinking, and this is what helps people reveal the potential they have. A lot of people have no idea what potential they have inside, and they keep hoping that someone is gonna come help them, save them, rescue them, and teach them something. It's impossible to teach anyone. You can only learn something. So my job is to show people the resources that they already have inside of them so that they can learn to believe in themselves and not in other people. And it actually takes a lot of iterations to complete 1 task. This is rule number 1 that I want you to understand right now. So when you submit an assignment, it's okay when you get it back with comments and with a request to do it over again. But now focusing on a slightly different thing. And a lot of iterations really help you get a skill and then polish up your skill and then master a skill. Because if you did it once and you did it intuitively, you didn't even understand how you did it, you are unable to repeat it. So it means you do not control that process. And a lot of non-native speakers, they get this wow result when they said something and everybody understood, or when they said something and everybody laughed, when they delivered a cool presentation and everybody gave a round of applause, but then they're unable to repeat that process, to replicate it. And they're looking for coaches to coach them, they're looking for mentors, they're looking for techniques, they're looking for cooler slides, because they don't know what they should do. They're looking for someone who will tell them what they should do. So I hope that makes sense. That's what we're going to be talking about today. And right now I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to share my screen so that you can see what what I've prepared for you, and be ready to take notes and take them in English for this session. So let's get started. I hope right now you can see my screen. So that's my presentation for you today. The not to-do list if you're after quality communication in English. And I chose this title for the reason, and I'm going to show you why in a second. The not to-do list, in my opinion, are more effective than to-do lists, because to-do lists are very long, very often, and you cannot focus on so many things. So we're going to look at the things you should stop doing. And pay attention to this. So this presentation is about fluency, which is beyond academic levels. I do not focus on academic levels such as pre-intermediate, intermediate, upper intermediate, advanced, proficient, because I work with people who need English for business. I work with people who use English to get better life opportunities or career opportunities. And I have never, ever seen anyone or any company, I've never seen any company, I would say, that evaluates the performance of its employees by their academic language levels. Nobody cares when you sit down at the negotiation table or at a meeting what your academic level is. Nobody cares. You either can do the job or you can't. You can communicate or you can't. If you can communicate, that's one story. If you can communicate well, that's a different story. And academic levels do not help you sell more or sell better, present yourself better, communicate better. And academic levels is what people have already most of the time when they join. So they should stop focusing on improving their academic level, and they should start focusing on improving the level of quality communication that gives them more opportunities in life. But instead, they focus on how can I become advanced? Yeah, how can I become proficient? I know a lot of people who are advanced, whose English skills, are advanced, or even those people who have a CPE certificate, proficiency level, and they're miserable when it comes to sales, or they cannot introduce themselves, they cannot communicate. They still have a thick accent. I mean, there are a lot of things that these people cannot do in business communication, and their academic levels don't matter. So if you're a non-native speaker and and English is your business language, or you use it often, or you live in a foreign country, I hope you're going to make use of this session. The number one tip for all non-native speakers is that you need to master the self-correction algorithms. I already spoke about it before. And I'm going to show it. So if you go to my YouTube channel, right here, there is this video, practical live. You see, it's right here, practical session, live self-correction. So I'm on it right now. So if I click, here we go. We did this video a month ago, a similar one to what I'm doing right now. And here I share self-correction algorithms for non-native speakers that you can use today. So if you haven't watched this, check it out. And I'm going to repeat some of it today just to remind you of how it's done and to give you more examples. So let's come back to the title. The title of my presentation today is the not to-do list if you're after quality communication in English. So ask yourself, as a non-native speaker, how often do you use this combination? If you're after quality communication in English, if you're after something, how often do you use that? I'm after this. I'm after something. Are you after that? So how often do you use that? And actually, when I was choosing the title for this presentation, I could have chosen a lot. And if we look at the title of the video, it says "Unlearn the strategies that don't work anyway." Then on Facebook, I announced it differently, and here I decided to announce it that way. So when you're working on your title, you will have versions, right? Versions, so a lot of versions, and it's good to have different versions. Well, let me tell you this. A lot of people who use English and they work in marketing, they work in international companies in marketing, let's say, or they write copy in English, or they create marketing strategies. They write a blog, a personal blog or a company blog, or a Facebook page in Russian. They face this problem all the time. Okay, how do I what's the title for my next blog post? What's the title for this book? How are we going to name this strategy? How are we going to name this? So if you write in English, title is an issue. And even if you write important emails, or if you create I don't know, if you create a presentation for your clients, you want the title on it, or the title for your strategy or for your solution for a client. And I could have picked many. I could have said, if you want to learn English, if your English matters in your business, if English matters in your business, I'm sorry. And I've chosen this, if you're after quality communication. Now, why did I choose this? Because I remember I heard it somewhere before, but then I wasn't really sure. I've never heard anyone say this word combination, if you're after quality communication. So I wanted to check myself, right? And if you remember in the previous video, this is a resource that I shared with you. It's Scale, scale.sketchengineco.uk, Scale. Just simply type Scale in Google and it will let you know. And I tried to check my ideas. So I just type, I'm after quality communication, exactly the way I think. And I try to check myself, and you see empty result for I'm after quality communication. So that's probably not what a lot of non-native speakers say in exactly this word combination. So I remove one word to see if probably I'm after quality something can give me a result, because I'm pretty sure I heard it somewhere. And if Scale says empty result, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It simply means this resource cannot index that, probably. But if it does exist, I will find it. Absolutely. If I cannot find it anywhere, then probably it's my fantasy. Probably native speakers don't speak that way. So that's already a kind of, it's a signal for me that what I'm trying to say is not very common, but well, it's not very, very popular, but I'm pretty sure I heard it. So I want to clarify in the first place for myself what this means. I'm after something. I've heard it before. So how about I remove one more word? I'm after. Well, okay, if I'm getting empty results here, it means something is wrong with this resource. So this is why I'm giving you many. I'm giving you a lot of, like, a bunch of resources. You can find a lot on Scale when it comes to one word, but when it comes to word combinations like this, if you want to check if the phrase is valid, then you want to check yourself in multiple sources. And I'm giving you a lot so that you don't feel frustrated and you can find it. So I simply go to Google, and I try to find it here. I'm after, let's say, quality something. Maybe native speakers say something similar. I'm after quality something. Can I find this 4 words in exactly this order in credible sources listed by native speakers? Well, if I can't find it on the first page of Google, okay, I can't. Let's remove one word. I'm after something, because it can be anything, right? Let's see. I'm not looking here because this is, because it thinks I'm because I'm in Russia right now. It gives me this translation apps, and I don't want to check this. But this is interesting. Lords of the Underground. What I'm after. So it's the name of the song, a single, which tells me already this is correct. If native speakers sing it, if it's in the song, then it's pretty much it. It's Love I'm After from Wikipedia. It's an American comedy. It's a film, comedy film. Again, it tells me this is correct. If you can say I'm after love, then this is correct. It's love I'm after. So that's good. How about I actually check what it means? I'm after meaning, so that I'm sure. I'm after. Yeah, very good. Cambridge Dictionary tells me to be looking for someone or something, or trying to find or get him, her, or it. The police are after him. I'm after a tie to go with this short. Okay, you can be after a tie. You can be after love. Very good. Be after something, the free dictionary. Let's look at the idiomatic expression, the idiom. I'm after doing my homework and I'm ready for a snack. So I'm after doing my homework. So but this is different. It's to be about to do or haven't just finished something. What I'm looking for, no, I don't want the Irish context. What I'm looking for is exactly this: to pursue, seek, or desire something. Yeah. to pursue, seek, or desire something, or what we have seen just in Cambridge Dictionary a minute ago, what we saw here is to be looking for something. Because if I look back at my title, what I mean is that if you want to pursue, if you want to achieve quality communication, if you want to find resources to get this quality communication, to get the skill of quality communication in English, if you want to achieve that, if you want to find it, and if you pursue that. So, and I'm after, and it's interesting, you see, we can, this is an interesting resource that I also wanted to share with you. Word reference farm. I go here often, and you can find a lot of advice given by native speakers to non-native speakers here. Because when you Google something, always remember that you don't want to look everywhere, because Spanish people, Bolivian people, and Russian people also write a lot on the internet, and Google can index everything they say. It doesn't mean that if you find it on Google, it's 100% correct. We only look at sources that are written by native speakers. And this is a good one, where native speakers explain pretty well, very often, what it means. So let's look at this. Yeah, so to be after something is a common enough way of saying to look for something. I'm after a piece of cheese. It means I'm looking for a piece of cheese, right? More idiomatic and original to my ear, however, is the expression to be after doing something. If you want, I want to do something, which is what I would like to ask about. I'm after driving to London. It means I want to drive to London. Or I'm after going for a swim. I want to go for a swim. Pretty much the same, but this is a very common one. This one is more common. To be after something is a common way of saying to look for something. Coming back to my presentation, this is exactly what I wanted to say. If you look for ways to achieve quality communication, right? If you need that, this is why I will be pretty confident that I can use that, because after doing something, it's already the third indication that Irish people say it more often than not. All right, just to be on the very safe side, I'm going to go to Youglish and check myself one more time. This is the resource that I want to share with you today. Another one, a great one to improve your pronunciation and to learn the context. So I have just learned that to be after something means to look for something. And I want to hear, and I couldn't find it on Scal. I found it in the forum, but I want to hear real people say it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type the phrase I have here, and I'm going to ask Youglish to say it for me. Let's listen.
What you're after, at least a lot of what I'm after in a book, which is to...
What I'm after in a book, he said, right? So what I'm looking for in a book. Let's listen to this.
Wow. And so that's what I'm after, is the wow.
What I'm after is the wow. So what I'm looking for is the wow. Very good. Let's look at this.
Is a big part of the mission of what I'm kind of after with this.
I'm kind of after with this, the mission. Interesting. I'm after with the mission. Now, this is not what we need.
And I've gotten myself in debt now, and I don't have the result that I'm after.
I don't have the result that I'm after. Like, I don't have the result that I want. I don't have the result that I'm looking for. There are 3,223 examples of native speakers saying exactly this, and it's exactly in the context that I need. So if I see 3,223 examples, it means my idea is correct. Sometimes you will Google something that, I don't know, the word, like, say it, right? You will have, you see, 59,611. So 611. A lot more examples, but if 3,000 is also enough, so you can trust that source. What I would like to try, I'm after, how about we try to look for exactly this phrase using English? Maybe it will find it. I'm doing it with you. No, we can't find it here because you see it's spread out and there's only one. So However, we have learned that you can be after something. Quality communication is something, so I'm pretty confident that I can use it that way. So here you go. I will already share the first resource with you. And this is how I check myself. So I can say it in a variety of different ways if you want to learn English, if English matters in your business, or I can choose to say if you're after quality communication. And if I can express myself in a variety of different ways, I feel more confident because I don't depend on one word or one word combination that I can't forget. And I can't forget things because I'm a human being. And I have learned a lot while doing this exercise. I have learned that I can say I'm after the result, right? I'm after a mission. That's what I remember from just browsing here. I'm after love. So by doing this, by looking for ways to say things correctly in English, you're learning a lot more things during that journey, and you're paying attention to the things you pay attention to. You're focusing on the things that you generally focus on. And it's also interesting to notice, where do you pay attention? Why do you pick that word? Yeah, what holds your attention at the current moment? All right, so just wanted to show you how I work on my own presentations, how I choose titles for my own presentations, and how I check if my ideas are valid. So easy, free resources to check your ideas. I already showed you all three of them, and I just want to say one more time how you can use them. Google, right? You can get instant confirmations from thousands of native speakers. And again, only look at sources that are written by native speakers. How do you use Google? Let's say you have an idea to say something, for example, like I did, I'm after quality communication. You type in Google exactly what you think is correct, exactly this word combination, and you play by ear. And you start from there and you see what happens if you click, who says so, what happens if you cannot find this word combination, then you probably have to remove a couple words, and maybe you will find interesting links, whatever. But if it's an entry in the media, if it's a blog post written by a native speaker, you can trust it. When you use Google, try to find at least 10 confirmations of your idea. So I have just found 3,000 something, but the quality ones will be definitely more than 10. And word forum, where the one that I showed you, word reference forum, you can also type in any request here, for example, limit to or limit with, yeah, and they will tell you if this is correct or incorrect. You will see explanations given by native speakers. That's a credible source too, especially if other native speakers confirm that. Here you can see where people are from, for example, Southern England, Devonshire, also England, UK, sometimes it will be America, sometimes Ireland, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter. Then Youglish, I have just shown you this resource. Youglish helps you improve your pronunciation and learn the context. Let's try something else. So Youglish is amazing but if you know how to use it, it's amazing because you can hear pronunciation, you can hear how the word or a word combination is pronounced by different people who have different accents. They come from different places, maybe Australia, New Zealand, England, Ireland, Scotland, US, and you can learn to understand any accent, and you can hear how they pronounce not just one word, but a bunch of words together, and in what context it's used. And you can see the subtitles. So if you cannot hear something, you can always check the subtitles. Well, let's type something in here. We're going to speak about confidence today. How about let's learn how the word confidence is used.
That gave people a level of confidence that we were going to get.
And that gave people, let's watch one more time, level of confidence, right?
Line number and just to say profit. And they are staying.
Okay, I lost it. Let's go back to the next one.
For people would be social skills and that confidence.
So social skills and that confidence that I've gained. So you can learn from here that you can gain confidence that I've gained. If I were you, I would simply go and copy that phrase and use it. The confidence that I've gained, And you can listen multiple times to how the person says this. We can listen again.
People would be social skills and that confidence that I've gained from, taking classes.
will give you the confidence to follow your heart.
Will give you the confidence.
Will give you the confidence to follow your heart.
You can listen to the same piece as many times as you want by clicking this round arrow here. And what you can learn from here is give you the confidence. Give you the confidence, right? A lot of non-native speakers don't really know which verbs go with which nouns. Give you the confidence.
Have we so lost confidence that...
That's an interesting one. She's definitely surprised.
Have we so lost confidence that we will be there for each other?
Have we so lost confidence? And you see how I do it? I don't just listen and I don't just click forward, 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 forward until I find something interesting. I listen to each piece very attentively and I repeat. I repeat, trying to imitate the intonation and the rhythm and the ups and downs of the language, everything. Have we so lost confidence? It's a very interesting one. I, with my Russian-speaking brain, would have never said it this way in English. A lot of non-native speakers would say something like, did we lose confidence so much? But instead, you see, we can say, have we so lost confidence? It's an interesting one.
Deeper sense of being, so it gives you confidence.
It's a good one, another one. So it gives you confidence. Give, again. So you can say,
then every parent would have the confidence.
Would have the confidence. And again, if you're a non-native speaker, pay attention to this. Let's look at this example before. So it gives you confidence, no article, but here, every parent would have the confidence. Let's listen to what she says next.
Then every parent would have the confidence to name their child.
You see, because she explains what kind of confidence, she uses the confidence to name their child in the moment the child is born. But before, in this example, there's a full stop.
Deeper sense of being, so it gives you confidence.
So it gives you confidence, full stop. She doesn't explain what kind of confidence, just general confidence. And it's very important, like when you are very attentive to how native speakers talk, and you're attentive to every word and prepositions, articles, they are also words. You'll learn why they use the article and why they don't. Or at least you learn to pay attention that, okay, they have the article here and they don't have the article in this one. Why? For example, this one.
Of people that we talk to, because people need to have confidence.
Yeah, so people need to have confidence. She doesn't explain what kind of confidence. Confidence.
Energy and the confidence and the optimism.
Here, I'm not sure we need to listen to the entire talk, Travel and Political Act with Rick Steves, to understand why he uses the article. Oh, that's an interesting one.
Yet it was not a vote of no confidence in our doing it.
It was a vote of no confidence.
Yet it was not a vote of no confidence in our doing it.
Very interesting. Look at
Yet
this.
it was not.
Would you have ever said it this way? It was a vote of no confidence in our doing it. I bet if the subtitles were off right now, and if he said it again as quickly as he does.
Yet it was not a vote of no confidence in our doing it.
In our doing it.
Yet it was.
It was not a vote of no confidence in our doing it. I bet if the subtitles were off, a lot of non-native speakers who are watching this right now would not have understood what he said. And so this is a very good exercise when you can learn to say so many short words that are next to each other together, a vote of no confidence in our doing it. If you're a non-native speaker, try to say it this way. And it was not a vote of no confidence in our doing it. Try to pronounce it as fast as he does. Try as many times as you need to understand how it sounds when you say, because a lot of non-native speakers don't have their articulation muscles trained enough to make these sounds and as fast as they need to make them. So a vote of no confidence, that's an interesting one. So this is how you use Yuglish. That's my point. You check the context, you check the pronunciation, and you imitate. So you're improving your pronunciation, you're improving your listening skills, and you learn the context. You learn how the word is used and what words it can be together with. Then scale. Let's come back here. Scale is great when you're working with one word, but sometimes it works with phrases as well. You're looking at one word, and you can see from examples listed here how the word is used. that confidence itself contributes towards better sales results. That's a cool one. I can learn from here that I can say that confidence itself and confidence contributes. That's another good combination I can take for myself, right? The last principal factor is professional confidence. So I learn from this that I can say professional confidence, right? Or this projection was assigned high confidence, or transparency enhances confidence and reduces competitive arms spending, enhances confidence. So instead of saying, I can say it increases confidence, it boosts confidence, it improves confidence, and I can say it enhances confidence. So again, the more ways you have to express yourself, the more synonyms you know, the easier it becomes to communicate, because you can vary these versions at the moment of speaking and your language becomes more vivid and more interesting. My confidence level in being ready is high. So confidence level. Again, so you use Scout to learn how the word is used in the context, because one word confidence will not be enough for you to use it. You need to understand how it's used in the context. You can also click on Word Sketch and learn which words can be used before confidence, after confidence. For example, adjectives with confidence. You can say necessary confidence, low confidence, high confidence, right? Or modifiers in confidence, it means the words that can be before the word confidence. Self-confidence, consumer confidence, investor confidence. You can gain confidence, renewed confidence, public confidence. So that's a great way to expand your vocabulary into supreme confidence and to learn to use more synonyms and to make your language a lot richer, to make your speech richer. You can lack confidence, absolute confidence. And here are the words that come after, right? The word confidence. Confidence vote, confidence booster, confidence self-esteem, confidence index, confidence level, or you can say index of confidence, level of confidence, indicator of confidence, or confidence indicator. All right, and here are kind of synonyms, yeah? Self-esteem, courage, esteem, so it tries to give you confidence. Similar words, so if you want to learn synonyms, you click on the similar words, and here you have them in a word cloud or in a list. Opportunity, knowledge, enthusiasm. I would doubt that a lot of them really are synonyms to the word confidence, but they're kind of similar. They're similar, they're not confidence. If you really want to learn synonyms, you probably would go to the dictionary or to thesaurus.com. All right, so this is how you use Scout. And I hope this gives you enough understanding of what you can do. Now you simply need to go and try it for yourself. And anytime you arrive at a new idea that you need to check, try all these 3 resources. They're free and they're really fun. They're fun to use. Okay, I already told you that you can watch this video from May 7th. To see more examples how you can use Scout. And I'm going to move on to the not to-do list for people who speak English and want to speak better. So again, I changed it here. You see, I could have said, just like I did in the beginning, the not to-do list if you're after quality communication in English, but here I decided to change it again. The not to-do list for people who speak English and want to speak better. The same idea expressed differently, expressed in different words. If you do marketing, if you do sales, if you write in English, if you write a lot of emails, if you manage an international team, if you do public speaking in English, if you do presentations, you need to learn to express the same ideas in different words. Because some words people pay more attention to than the others. Because if you keep repeating the same word, people lose focus. Because some words mean more to some people than they mean to others. And by using a variety of language elements, you can hit the target better and smarter. And you're also training your own skill to be not afraid to get into spontaneous conversations. You're training your own skill to express and formulate your ideas freely and differently. And you're training a skill to explain the same idea in a variety of different ways. Because some people won't get it the first time you tell them. And it happens all the time in sales. Because I train sales teams, and very few salespeople can explain very clearly what it is they're selling. So this is why they need several meetings and they need more time. And the first time they say it, it's very often not clear at all. And a lot of teachers need that skill, because the first time they explain something to their students don't get that. So they need to try again, using different vocabulary and using different images and using different concepts probably. So just giving you an example. I do it all the time. Tip number 1, please don't learn more words. I know that every application today that focuses on helping people to learn a foreign language tells you, oh, we're going to help you learn more words. Then if you go to YouTube, almost every video tip for people who are learning a language says how to learn 100 new words, 20 new words that you need to know, 50 words that you didn't learn at school. And everybody wants to give you this quantity of new words that you don't know yet. And people get even more frustrated when they realize, oh my God, there's so much I don't know yet, and there's so much I need to catch up with. Don't pay even attention to, I don't know, to 100 new words you don't know yet, or don't pay attention to instructions on how to learn 1,000 new words every week. It doesn't matter, because it's pointless. Unless you can make a sentence out of them, words don't matter. It doesn't. I know a lot of people who know a lot of words, but they cannot make a conversation. So what's the point? You need to learn to identify the right context. And I just showed you can do it right here on Scale. Let's say you learned a new word, for example, arbitrage. Let's say it's a difficult word. But it doesn't mean you know the meaning of, you can know the meaning of the word. And a lot of people go to Google Translate, to find out the meaning. Don't do that either. Don't train your brain that translation is the only way out, because it's easy and it's misleading. You don't want to translate. You want to learn. You want to understand how people use this word. Don't translate. Understand how people use it. For example, arbitrage, by looking at these examples, if you read at least 10, you will understand how it's used in the context, right? The company's primary activity is arbitrage in foreign securities. It's probably different from what you imagine arbitrage means, right? Or arbitrage moves different currencies toward purchasing power parity. That's a very good definition, actually. Or arbitrage between the two assets will ensure the equilibrium is maintained. So a lot of interesting vocabulary already here, and you can imagine how the word can be used. This gives the broker a late trade, the perfect arbitrage. So if you're a broker, you probably understand this. If you're not, then it's going to be difficult for you. And if you're not, you need to check the context even more than those people who work as traders and brokers every day in the office, so that you understand where to position this word in the sentence, how to use it, and what words can it combine with, and what words it can never combine with. Because if you translate, what you do is you translate the structure of the sentence too. And when you translate, let's say, a Russian sentence into an English sentence, word by word, usually nothing good happens out of it. People don't understand you. This is what happens. If we speak about business, if we speak about something like, can you pour me a cup of coffee? Then people will understand you. And even here, why a lot of native speakers think that Russians are rude, because Russians will say, pour coffee now. Yeah. Or they don't say please. They don't say thank you. They don't say, can you please pour a cup of coffee for me? They say coffee, please, now. You. So if you translate the structure of the English sentence from Russian, it will sound rude and not appropriate. But it's not because they mean to be rude. It's because in our first language, it sounds like this, and this is how the structure of the Russian sentence works. But in English, it works differently. So don't learn more words. Focus on quality over quantity. If you learn 2 word combinations, 2 phrases every day, it's a lot better than learning 20 or 50 new words every day. Let's say if you go here, let's say a different word, let's use a different word, come back to the word confidence, right? If you learn 2 word combinations today, for example, low confidence, the problem is low confidence, or if you simply learn, okay, low confidence, and if you learn this one, I like it. Confidence in road building has taken knocks too. If you learn that confidence in doing something, you see, it's been very interesting. If you Google this, confidence in, wow. So we see a lot of cool results. Confidence in government data, confidence in evolutionary theory, confidence in the teams, yeah, confidence in risk estimates. So if you learn at least this 2, confidence in this vaccine, I have confidence in you, I have confidence in this vaccine, I have confidence in your answers, and some people have low confidence. So if you learn these 2 expressions, low confidence and confidence in something, and you go here and you simply confirm your findings, confidence in. Again, we have this example.
It was not a vote of no confidence in our doing it.
That was good.
And having confidence in yourself.
Confidence in yourself.
That is not a complicated formula, but it gives me a powerful sense of confidence in what together we can achieve.
Confidence in what together we can achieve. Beautiful.
You also expressed confidence in the career FBI folks.
You can confidence in the career. Yeah, so if you learn this 2, believe me, it's going to be enough if you start using them. It's better than 50 random words you will never use. So this is tip number 1. Tip number 2 on my not to do list: don't trust your teacher. And I mean it. I mean it. What I see a lot is that non-native speakers think their teacher is the ultimate authority who cannot be questioned ever. A lot of teachers, let's face it, a lot of English teachers are also non-native speakers. And it's okay that they can make mistakes sometimes. And if we never question what our teacher tells us, we never learn. So don't trust your teacher 100%. Make it a habit to explore, question people's opinion, reinforce the knowledge you gained in class. You can, because maybe your teacher is right, maybe your teacher is wrong, and maybe everything your teacher says is correct, but maybe make it a habit to explore and to confirm it. So let's say if you learned something from your teacher, why don't you go to Scal and check it and find it? Because this is how you reinforce the knowledge you're gaining. Why don't you go to English and you check it? So you learn the word combination from your teacher, and even if your teacher is a native speaker, right? Because native speakers also sometimes make mistakes in prepositions and articles and whatever. Sometimes, let's say you heard your teacher say do a mistake, and you remember from a different teacher that it has to be make a mistake. So how about we go and see if native speakers actually say it?
Do any mistakes, because when you do a mistake at the beginning,
well, that was a native speaker, he said it.
I can correct my mistake when I'm doing some mistake.
This is not a native speaker, so I will not trust this guy.
I have to do a mistake that worries him in future.
Here, it was a native speaker. White House.
I mean, did she do a mistake?
This was someone with an accent, so we will not look at this. Is he here made a mistake?
To do this, and they made a mistake.
Made a mistake. So we heard 3 examples.
Ever happened like you have to do some retraction?
Make a mistake. All the rest is make a mistake. So we should say make a mistake. We heard 2 people say do a mistake, and I'm not sure if they were native speakers or not. So I would go probably to, let's say, dictionary, or let's check it here. Because some native speakers do say it, do a mistake. It doesn't mean it's correct. I have not done a mistake. Interesting. I did a mistake by just checking her mail. That's quite possible. That's good. They just did a mistake at the end of on the check. So you see, it can be used, and it is used in certain. I know I did a mistake. Give me a second. Hang on. Hold on a second. So you see, already here we have an interesting question. Click this if you feel you have done a mistake, and it will clear your guessing area. I love that. It will clear your guessing area. I'm going to steal that from today. So I hear some native speakers say, well, I did a mistake if I've done a mistake. Although I know and every teacher says you should say make a mistake. But when I see different versions like this here, my next step would be probably go into word reference form and asking, do a mistake or make a mistake? So how about you do it right now yourself and you share your comments with me, because we see that it's being used. We now need to understand what's the probability that all of these examples are wrong, and what's the rule, if there is a rule, on how, where, and when you need to say do a mistake, because the most common is make a mistake. So how about you do it and you share your insights after the session. So you can do it now or after the session, doesn't matter. But please always check yourself. I want to give you two examples from experience. Two students that are taking the course Confident Business Writing for Non-Native Speakers with me. They write a lot. They write a lot in English, and they have to write. And then they submit a piece of writing. I edit it. They receive it back, and they may have to edit again. And when I correct something, I encourage them to check my corrections, to check if my corrections make sense. Some person wrote cherry on a pie. It's a cherry on a pie, or it's cherry on a pie. And I immediately see that, the articles are missing and there are wrong articles here because it's an idiomatic expression. If we go to Google and we Google our idea exactly the way we think it, cherry on a pie, we see that it's the cherry on the pie, right? And word reference form also says cherry on, but this is what I heard more often, and from Macmillan Dictionary, the cherry on the cake, not the pie, but the cake. Well, first I can see that word reference says the pie is fine, but the dictionary says the cake, but it's the cherry on the cake. And when the person checked that, they found out that it's the cherry on the cake and not cherry on a pie. Or we had an interesting task about gulag, and we were saying gulag, 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 but then people were writing a summary about what it was, what this place was about. And it turns out that we paid attention to the fact that it has to be the gulag, that native speakers say the gulag because it was the only place like this in the world, and you should use an article before that, the gulag. And this is what my students help me achieve when they're attentive. They're training their attentiveness, focus, and they're getting better at making quality sentences in English. Tip number 3, don't listen passively. A lot of people tell me, oh, I watch TV shows in English, I watch movies, whatever, but they simply watch and do nothing. Like, for example, even English, what I'm showing you here right now, it's not enough to click forward, forward, forward and listen. You need to repeat. The same comes to watching TV shows, movies, everything you watch on YouTube. Always repeat, always copy, always ask yourself, why am I not saying this too? Can I steal some of the phrases and use them myself? I want to show you one episode from The Big Bang Theory. I thought that's something that everybody knows. It's 3 minutes long. Let's watch the episode. I'm going to stop where I think it's a good time to stop, and I'm going to pay your attention to some of the word combinations. And what I want you to try to do right now is to focus on the subtitles. The video will be with subtitles, and I know that for a lot of people it's a problem. They can either look or they can read the subtitles. They can watch the video or they can read the subtitles. They cannot do both. So let's try to focus on doing both and try to understand everything they say. Follow the subtitles very closely so that your brain can sync whatever you're reading and whatever you're hearing. Okay.
So what'd you think?
It was good.
That's it? Good?
I enjoyed it. When you told me I was going to be losing my virginity, I didn't think you meant showing Raiders of the Lost Ark for the first time.
My apologies. I chose my words poorly.
That's a good one. I chose my words poorly. If you're in the middle of a presentation where people don't understand you, or you understand that you expressed your idea in a way that you didn't mean to, you can say, I chose my words poorly.
I should have said you were about to have your world rocked on my couch.
Do you use that? You have your world will rock. You will have your world rocked. That's a good one too.
Anyway, thank you for watching it. It's one of my all-time favorites.
One of my all-time favorites. See if you can, why don't you use it in your own speech? If it's your favorite movie ever, why don't you say it's one of my all-time favorites?
It was very entertaining, despite the glaring story problem.
Story problem? Oh. Amy. What a dewy-eyed mooncalf you are. Raiders of the Lost Ark is the love child of Steven Spielberg and George Lucas.
The love child of Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. The love child, it means the book or the film was something they created with love.
Two of the most gifted filmmakers of our generation. I've watched it 36 times, except for the snake scene and the face melting scene, which I can only watch when it's still light out. But I defy you to find a story problem. Here's my jaw, drop it.
Here's my jaw, drop it. So you know probably when something's jaw dropping, but it's also a very interesting way of saying it. Here's my jaw, drop it.
All right. Indiana Jones plays no role in the outcome of the story. If he weren't in the film, it would turn out exactly the same.
I see your confusion. Now, you don't understand. Indiana Jones was the one in the hat with the whip.
No, I do. And if he weren't in the movie, the Nazis would have still found the Ark, taken it to the island, opened it up, and all died. Just like they did.
If you're trying to learn conditional sentences, simply listen to what Amy is saying, because everybody knows how hard these conditional sentences are, especially something that is unreal in the future. We cannot change the future and we use it like it would have been if they had done something. Look at this and try to repeat what Amy is saying.
If you weren't in the movie, the Nazis would have still found the Ark, taken it to the island, opened it up, and all died. Just like they did.
If you can repeat this sentence, you're pretty much, you're learning conditional sentences, you're learning how to say conditional sentences, and you're learning a lot of new words. So my point is, don't ever watch silently. Don't ever listen passively. Always repeat, stop, pause the video, copy, and ask yourself, these are cool word combinations. Why am I not using this too? I stopped maybe 5-6 times to show you the ones that I would have taken for myself, that I could take for myself actually, and I can, and I'm already using those, but anyway, maybe you're not. It's one of my all-time favorites, right? So if I think about it right now, off the top of my head, I remember it's one of my all-time favorites. What else do I remember? So I remember probably one. Yeah, honestly, it gets stuck in my head. Or yeah, you would have your world rocked on my couch. Yeah, so you see, a human brain works this way. You remember maximum 3 pieces of information, and people try to learn 50 new words a day. It's impossible, but you learn by repetition. So if you remember 1 or 2 quality expressions, it's good, it's great, and you're training your articulation organs every day when you repeat, and every time you repeat whatever you hear in English. So don't listen passively. It means, yes, it means that probably you will watch shorter videos and you will not finish the movie in one sitting if you're trying to learn English. Because when you work with long videos and long interviews and long movies, it gets very tiring when you have to stop every 5 seconds and repeat. But instead, choose short clips like this one, 3 minutes long, and you see we have done only less than 2 minutes, and work specifically with this short piece of video. And the rest you can watch if you simply want to enjoy the content. But if you want to improve your English skills, choose short videos and work deliberately with them. Tip number 4, don't turn your subtitles off. Just like in the video I showed you now, always have your subtitles on because you're missing the opportunity to learn more. Use the opportunity to learn more. And believe me, you will get enough moments to get frustrated anyway. I want to show you the scene from Interstellar, and I want to tell you a story. This is what happened to one of my clients when he told me a story of how he and his wife went to the movies in London. And I'm going to find it for you, and then I'm going to stop. So they went to the movies in London to see Interstellar just when it came out. And his English is pretty good. It's, I would say, upper intermediate according to academic standards. And his wife speaks also very good English. So they went to the movies, and they got out of the movies, and he called me and said, I'm so upset. I'm so upset because I was sitting in the movie theater and I felt like I'm elementary. I do not understand a word because the language they're using is a lot of scientific terms, a lot of space-related terms, a lot of words he doesn't even use in Russian, and he had no idea how to name those things in English. And of course, the subtitles were off because it was an English movie in London. And a lot of people do this mistake. You see, I said it, they do this mistake. I said it myself. A lot of people make this mistake when they turn an English movie on at their home and they turn the subtitles off. And they tell themselves, my English is already good enough, I should be able to understand everything without subtitles. Or they tell themselves, I can do it, and I will train myself to understand everything without the subtitles. No, have them on all the time. I'm going to show you a scene, and the subtitles will be on. And I'm going to stop and explain to you why they need to be on. Listen to this. And everything is free. You can find it on YouTube, like anywhere.
Cooper, there's no point using your fuel to
analyze the endurance of spin.
So imagine the subtitles were off. Would you have understood it? Imagine, analyze the endurance of spin. First of all, would you understand that the name of the ship is Endurance? And do you know the word spin? Ask yourself this question, honestly.
What are you doing?
Docking.
Do you know the word docking?
Endurance rotation is 68 RPM.
Endurance's rotation is 67, 68 RPM. Do you know RPM? If you do cycling, you probably know what RPM does. If you don't do cycling, how would you know? It doesn't mean that you're stupid. It doesn't mean that you don't know a lot of words. Having subtitles on helps you learn more words if your brain can sync and if your brain can do two things simultaneously. Read and listen and understand. 3 things, actually. You need to read, you need to listen, and you need to understand. So my point is that when you're turning the subtitles off, you're depriving yourself of an opportunity to learn more quality vocabulary. And most importantly, you probably know this vocabulary, but you haven't heard native speakers use it, and you have no idea in what context it can be used. For example, rotation. I know the word rotation, but the ship's rotation is 68 RPM. That's a new word combination for me. I didn't know that I can use it with the word like the ship's rotation and that I can measure it in RPM. That's interesting. So when I have the subtitles on, I'm learning more. If you think about movies like Interstellar or Avatar or Game of Thrones, where there's so many uncommon, unusual geographical names, people's names, titles of the I don't know, people's titles, confusing locations, weapons, all the words that we don't use in everyday language, you're simply depriving yourself of the opportunity to learn. So why don't you learn them? And the more you pay attention to the subtitles, the more you learn. But you need to pay attention, not simply read.
Okay, get ready to match your spin with the retro thrusters.
Get ready to match your spin with the retro thrusters. Again, would you have understood it if the subtitles were off? Now when the subtitles are on, you're following what's happening in the movie. And if necessary, you see, I stop it and I read it one more time to myself. But when your brain is already trained well to do this task, you can do it in the moment, but you're helping yourself understand the movie. When you turn the subtitles off, you're not helping yourself. You're getting more frustrated with the movie.
It's not possible.
No, it's necessary.
So that's my point. Give yourself an opportunity. You will get enough moments to get frustrated anyway. So help yourself any given time. And let's say right now, when I watch a movie, I understand every single word that people say, unless it's a word like, thrusters, I don't know, a word that I don't even know how to use in Russian, or if it's a medical term, I have no idea what it means, right? So for this purposes, I turn the subtitles on. But if your level of English is, like if you evaluate your English as something how do I put it in words correctly? If you don't understand everything that people tell you at this point, always have your subtitles on. There's no point in turning them off, okay? We have 2 more. So don't try to translate your emotions and intonations. This is a very entertaining article, Why Pain is Expressed Differently in Different Languages. I encourage you to read it by the week. And here you find that, if, let's say, you walk on the street and you bump into something because you didn't see it. In Russian, we will say "oi." In English, people would say "ouch." In German, people would say "aua," right? So in Greek, they would say "och," and whatever. So "ai" probably in French. So people express it differently, and in every language, animals make different sounds. Well, animals make all the same sounds, right? It doesn't matter where you see an animal. Just if you see a cat in France or in Greece or in Russia or in America, it's still a cat and it produces the same sounds, but people hear the sounds differently, right? In Russian, we say meow. In English, it's mew. So in other cultures, it's different. Or the dogs, is absolutely fascinating to me how people hear animal sounds in every language. But the animals still make the same sounds. It doesn't adapt to the language. The point is, we're all different. And in every culture, we hear sounds differently. People hear sounds differently. People express their emotions differently. People respond differently to pain. People respond differently to affection, to signs of affection, to enthusiasm, to joy, and you need to learn those ways if you want to build quality relationships with people and establish this sense of connection where people forget that you're a foreigner. This is what I want to achieve. Let's say every time I communicate, I want people to forget that I come from a different country, that I'm a foreigner. We communicate as equals and we understand each other perfectly. So don't try to translate. Instead, try to learn how they do it. Don't try to drop your accent or lose your accent. Instead, learn a new accent. You can learn to sound more American. You can learn to sound more British if you want. You can even learn to sound more Australian if you want to. But it doesn't mean you're losing your accent. I can switch to Russian accent anytime I want, but it's more fun for me to learn new accents. Learn new ways to express yourself. It doesn't mean you're forgetting other ways. You're just learning new ones. And you need to learn to operate in a different signal system. I have a typo here. Signal should be with 1 L. Sorry about that. A language is a new language is a different signal system. And if you don't know how to operate, how to orientate in that system, you will always be translating. But if you learn how it operates, you can stop translating and you can start thinking directly in that new system. And the last tip is, don't start with grammar. A lot of people, when they start learning English, they sit down and they learn all the tenses first, then they learn all the phrasal verbs, then they learn the gerund, then they learn how to make conditional sentences, and then they try to speak. And it doesn't work. Unfortunately, most language courses are built around that. It doesn't work. People still don't speak, and they cannot speak without translating. They need to translate every word, then they understand what a person said. They need to translate every thought that they have, then they can express themselves. It doesn't work that way. And I'm telling you, it doesn't work that way, not because I'm trying to promote my system. I'm not trying to promote it. And if you can take something from this session and teach your kids, and if it improves or if it makes your interaction with a new language easier, please, I'm happy if you take it, if you copy it, if you use it. I'm not promoting my method. I just want more people to be at ease with foreign languages, and I want to show a lot more people that it's not as hard as you imagine. So don't start with grammar, start with people. Start with being curious about people. Read more to something in English that interests you, genuinely interests you. Listen to people who fascinate you in English. Repeat, ask questions. And if you start curious about people first, why do people speak that way? Okay, I hear them say, I build confidence within. Why do they put these words in this order? So first you understand, first you try to understand these people and why they say it this way. Or first you get curious about people. And then you can go and study grammar so that you can repeat it and so that you can build that sentence correctly too. But don't start with it, because when people are inundated with rules, they are so afraid to break them. It's something that I see all the time. People learn a lot of rules and then they shut up and they don't speak because they're so afraid to break them. Start with people. Get curious about people. Okay, I've told you a bunch of things you probably should not do and never do. Let's talk about things you can do instead. I'm not saying you should, you can do instead, so try them out. And I'm not saying you should try to do all of these things at once or one after another. The order doesn't matter. It's a system that means wherever you start, you arrive where you need to be. Try, let me know how it works, and see what changes in your world. Number one, learn to check your ideas. I already showed you many times today how you can do that. Use Youglish, use Scale, use Google. Learn every idea you have. Then ask yourself only one question. Have I heard a native speaker say so? Have I seen a native speaker write so? If I haven't, then I need to go and check my idea online. And I need thousands of native speakers online to confirm or validate my idea. If I have heard a native speaker say so, if I find, let's say, 3,000 examples in English of how native speakers say so, then I can be confident. Use Google Images when you, not Google, I'm sorry, use Google Images, it's a typo. Use Google Images when you learn new words. What I mean by Google Images, when you want to learn new words, right? A lot of people will do this. Cherry, Google Translate, they will go here and they will see the translation to their first language, Don't do that. What you can do instead is you Google the word cherry and you click images. Oh, suddenly it's so easy what cherry means. It's so easy to understand what a cherry means. So when you see a new word, go to Google Images and it will give you a faster idea. It will give you an idea about what this word means a lot faster. That's what I meant. And you're giving your brain a lot more to focus on. When you see so many images, and I'm sure you have different associations with these images, maybe memories, maybe experiences. You can now imagine how cherries taste. Maybe you have a cherry tree, or your grandparents used to have a cherry tree. Maybe you like a cherry smoothie. Maybe you have, maybe your phone cover has cherries on it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you have a cherry lipstick, whatever. Yeah, a cherry pie. You have so many associations now. Or maybe you imagine a cherry on top of a cocktail or a whipped cream like here. Give your brain more things to hold on to. When you give your brain only one word, which is, let's say, vishnya, right, in Russian, only one word and no other association, in case you forget this one word, you're done, like you're lost, and you cannot remember what this word means again. Give your brain more and give yourself more opportunities. Don't limit yourself. Then have your subtitles on. I hope I explained you well enough why you need to do that. Then blog in English. Follow English bloggers. Blog in English, because why blogging? Because when you write, you're learning to express your thoughts in English. And writing is the easiest tool because we have time when we write. You can write it down, you can edit, you can look at it, you can think, you can contemplate, you can cross something out, you can remove the words, you can change it. So you have the time to think. And we need to use this time to apply different algorithms to the way we think in a foreign language and to learn to think in a foreign language instead of translating word by word. And in order to blog well in English, you need to follow some English bloggers. So follow someone you enjoy reading. I always recommend Seth Godin's blog. He blogs every single day for the last, I don't know, what, 18 years maybe. But it's here. It's Seth's.blog. And if you want quality content, they're not super long, the blog posts. They're pretty short, but he shares interesting ideas. The language is good. And Seth also recommends everyone to blog because this is how you learn to formulate your ideas a lot better. And this is one of the reasons I write myself. If you want to do it right, you can also take the course and join the community of people who are taking my courses, by the way. It's pretty amazing. Right here, I have, so if you click on all courses, you have this confident business writing for non-native speakers. We have a community of people who are learning the self-correction algorithms right now. And you can learn to write outstanding text in English because people are learning how to think. So here you can see the course program, and it includes everything. Creative writing, editing your writing, sales copy, resume, cover letter, video resume, clarity, connecting your ideas, blogs and publications. That's a long section as well, and also adding reading, listening, and speaking. So you focus on all the skills, language skills, not just writing, but we start with writing because it helps you learn to think in English and you can stop translating. Then this is the most interesting part. You can learn to edit your writing and you focus on brevity first. Then part 2, you ask yourself, is it even English, right? So is it even English? Do native speakers say that? And then we focus on clarity. Okay, I wrote something, I said something, how can I make it more clear? How can I help native speakers or my English-speaking audiences understand what I mean a lot better? There is a free video preview, you can watch it here. There are a lot of free videos on my YouTube with practical exercises. There are live streams on Instagram where I give practical tasks, whatever. But this is an opportunity if you want to join the community of people who get individual feedback for 6 months. So pretty much it's working. It's the work you do with other people and you get continuous feedback, personalized individual feedback from your trainer for 6 months. If you want to join and learn to blog in English, join us. But you can start blogging already now without taking the course. Simply start writing and using all the ideas that you find on Scale and Youglish and Google, yeah, and implementing everything you're learning. Then look for sentences, not words. When you found one word, a new word for you, always go to Scale and see how it combines with other words. Try to make a sentence and don't give people a job to make a sentence out of your words. When you express yourself poorly and when your word order is not right, when your sentence structure is not correct, when you're saying a bunch of words, you're giving other people a job to make a sentence out of your words. People don't want a job. People want to understand you the first time you say something. People want to feel easy around you, and it's your job. It's your job to make it easy for them. It's your job to make sure they don't struggle understanding you. And always keep your eyes open for options. If you learned one word, don't stop there, never stop. If you found one correct way to say something that you want to say, don't stop there. Look for a synonym. Pay attention to alternatives. What alternatives are out there? Just like I showed you with the title, I could have said learn strategies to learn English, to learn English faster, strategies to improve your English, strategies to master English if you need English for business, right? Strategies for non-native speakers who are after quality communication, right? Strategies for people who learn English and want to learn it better, something like that, or who speak English and want to speak better. learn to express the same ideas in a variety of ways. This will really, really help you in communicating with people, especially if you speak a lot in business. Because if you only can say something in one way and people don't understand this one way, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. It's a problem. Just to give you an example of what kind of work people do in the course and how they apply the self-correcting algorithms, people write text and then they have to edit their text based on the feedback from the trainer. And I gave some examples in the previous live session. There's another example. For example, this was before I had to consult a GP who recommended me give up drinking coffee. That is not correct. You need to say, after you do your research and after you use all the tools recommended in the course, a person quickly found out that it has to be, after a brief conversation, the GP recommended I should give up drinking coffee. This is more English, because what was before is the translation of your thought process. But what you see on the right is actually English. And then the next sentence, let's look at it. That recommendation was like a thunder on a clear day. Apparently, this person heard something like that before, but thunder on a clear sky doesn't exist in English. It's the direct translation from Russian. We have a grom sredi yasного неба, we have a similar idiom, but she translated that directly, and because she heard something like this in English, but she didn't check exactly what was that and how it sounds in English, she simply translated. After some work, and after checking her ideas, she found out that the correct English idiom would be a bolt from the blue or out of a clear sky, but not a thunder on a clear day. A bolt from the blue out of a clear sky. But in this particular context, unfortunately, it doesn't really fit. So she decided to drop that completely, and instead of this sentence you see on the left, she corrected the second sentence like this. I couldn't believe it when I heard the bad news. So that it was the bad news that she couldn't help, that she had to give up drinking coffee. And this out of a clear sky or bolt from the blue, she could have used that and said that news came out of a clear sky. But I think in this particular context, it's not what she wanted to say. She wanted to show how she felt about that news. And I couldn't believe it when I heard the bad news fits more here and is more appropriate here than saying the news came like a bolt from the blue. Because we speak here, we would focus on the news and on how surprising the news were, but she really wants to show how she feels about the news. So it's very, very interesting. And people do this work themselves by utilizing the resources in the course. So this was before is how she used to think, and after is how she's learning to think now, how she's correcting the algorithms of how her thoughts flow herself. And I want to finish this session by deconstructing confidence. Obviously, in order to speak a foreign language and very well, and to increase the quality of your communication in a second language with your business partners or with people who surround you every day, you need to be very confident. You know that many people don't understand what confidence actually means, and they believe that somebody else can inject confidence in them. I want to deconstruct that, and I want to answer the question, how do you build what you haven't had yet? Right? So people who have been learning English with no result, how can they build that confidence that they've never had? This is how I do it for myself. Well, first I define confidence for myself. Confidence is not my opinion. Confidence comes when it's based on facts, like it's confirmed by many people I trust. And when I'm confident in the word combination that I want to use, if I think it's a great word combination, I'm not confident. I think it's a great word combination. When many non-native speakers confirm that it's the correct word combination and they use it every day, then that gives me confidence, all right? And I can use that. So I remember that it has to be proven by other people and have to be confirmed by people that I trust. Why do I mention people that I trust? Because there are a lot of let's say, people in every country that are not well educated, they make mistakes. There are a lot of people who make mistakes in Russian, who were born in Russia. So I want to pay attention and I want to learn from people who are educated, and I want to learn from people who speak the way I would like to speak, not just from everybody. And I remember that opinion, sorry, that's a typo again. Opinion never gives me confidence, not opinions, opinion. Never gives confidence, even my own opinion. You know, my brother when he was 15, he was learning German. And because I speak German very well, he asked me to check his work. And he had to write some sentences and he put the verbs in the wrong place. And in German, a verb always comes second in every sentence. And I asked him, but you know the rule, why did you put the verb in the wrong place? And his answer was, well, because it sounds better this way. And he made me laugh, because how do you know it sounds better if it's not your first language? Like, you're making the assumption, or you're trying to evaluate if it sounds good or bad based on how you hear the German language. It's like based on your opinion of what is beautiful and what is not, and not based on the structure of the German language, and not based on the fact of how German people speak their language. Don't do that. Don't make that mistake, because if it's not a fact, you cannot be confident, you cannot be sure. Don't trust your own opinion, and don't trust the opinion of other people. So I'm confident when I know. How do I know that I know? How do I know I know? First, I go and check my ideas. This is why I'm giving you multiple resources, so you can go and check your ideas yourself. I go to UNglish, I go to Scale, I go to Google. I make sure that I know, and my idea, my hypothesis, is confirmed by other native speakers. And if I know, I can hear it very clearly. So I don't just see it written down. I can hear it. I can hear how people say it in real life. For this, I go to YouTube, I go to UNglish, and I can easily find what I need. And I can write it down myself. So if I hear it, I can write it down, I can say it, and I can see it. So I use all the senses. And if I can hear it, if I can repeat it, if I can write it down, if I can say it in a conversation, then I know. And I know that whatever I'm saying is correct. This gives me confidence. So I practice confidence by creating situations where I'm confident that I know what I think I know. I know what I think I know. I always check my ideas. I'm never confident the first time I arrive at some idea. I always check it, because I communicate with a lot of native speakers, and it's a lot harder to speak to native speakers than to a bunch of non-native speakers, because native speakers hear everything. It's their first language. They hear when I misplace an article. They hear when when my accent is weird with some words. They can hear if the preposition is incorrect. They hear everything, every single thing. And I always think twice before presenting in front of native speakers. So I want to check that I know that I think I know. And so I practice confidence by creating situations where I'm confident that I know what I think I know, and I can use what I know. By the last part, I mean I can repeat it, I can write it down, I can say it in a conversation. And a lot of people learn English passively. They listen, they don't repeat. They learn a word, they never use it. They read it, and they never try to write it themselves. Don't make that mistake. So I would think that's it. Thank you very much for being here with me today. If you want to continue following my work, you can go to Instagram. My Instagram is glitchy these days, but hopefully it will all go back to normal starting Monday. You can find me on Medium. So I have a blog. I want to show you. So this is my YouTube channel. You can follow me on YouTube, and you're watching it on YouTube right now. You can follow me on Medium. If you don't read Medium, you should download an app. This is me. On Medium, I blog in Russian, and on LinkedIn, I write things in English. But for now, I will keep my blog in Russian on Medium here. On Instagram, it's only English. On YouTube, it's also only English. Then you can subscribe to my newsletter to receive practical tips and links. I will leave a comment under this video so that you can subscribe and receive useful newsletters with practical tips and recommendations. I never send any spam. I send practical recommendations so that people can work on their language skills on their own, and I announce upcoming events in my newsletters. So if you want to receive more tips from me, go ahead, see the first comment and subscribe. This is it. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Okay, I'm back on the screen. This is it. I will, so Hangouts is saying something. I hope there was not a problem with my videos, and I hope you could see them all, because I'm receiving weird messages from Hangouts now. But let me check after I finish. So this is it. Thank you for being here today. If you're watching it live, you can leave a comment. If you're watching the recording of it, also leave a comment and let me know if let me know your thoughts. You can try. You can consider trying all the resources I'm sharing with you, and I just want to show people that you need to start building confidence within, and everybody has the resources they need to master a language, and especially English. Like if you were to use the same resources to learn Dutch or German, it would have been way more complicated, because even today I wanted to find the pronunciation of German aua, how they say it, and it was hard. It was really hard, but because I think it's just not so advanced, and German is not such a popular language that people want to learn, but English is everywhere, right? All the news comes in English, all the scientific breakthrough news and research is written in English first, all the startups communicate in English, the business language of today is English, and it's so easy to find everything you need on YouTube, in the news, on Google, everywhere. And one more tip, don't look for educational resources. Instead, you can turn every resource into an educational resource, every resource that you particularly genuinely like, or that you find interesting and fascinating for yourself. This is how I work. I turn anything I see into an educational resource for myself. And if I know what I need to learn and how I need to learn it, I can learn anywhere. So thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the comments.